We are starting off with some rain this morning on the NBC2 First Alert Live Doppler radar from Cape Coral and heading over toward the Caloosahatchee in Fort Myers. I'll track how much longer the rain will stick around this morning, coming up in your First Alert forecast on the 2s.
I don't want to see another funeral for a police officer killed in the line of duty.
An officer clinging to life.
MPD with the suspect down. The officer is already out to the hospital with PD.
I was hearing this pop, pop, pop.
A shooting, putting one of their own down.
I've seen this person. He's a very good person.
Another robbery at a gas station, this time sending more than bullets through the walls.
These guys were shooting at the officer was shooting right back at them.
Reaction from a man who says he saw the reason why a Fort Myers police officer is not at work this morning. Instead, he is recovering right now at Lee Memorial. This is the face of Adam Jobbers Miller. He is 29 years old and he is in critical condition at the hospital. He was shot Saturday night, and that is our top story this morning.
We're also keeping tabs on how victims of mass shootings in Toronto are doing this morning. Right now, we know one victim is dead after a man shot 14 people, including a young girl. The shooter is dead this morning. Now Toronto police are looking for anyone who may have seen anything when the incident went down around 10 o'clock last night.
But first, we have rain on the radar. Let's send it over to First Alert meteorologist Jason Dunning. That's where we start, and we see what neighborhoods are seeing it right now. Good morning, Jason.
Yeah, good morning to you. Right now, Cape Coral up through Charlotte County and eventually Fort Myers and closer to the Caloosahatchee here as we head through the next few minutes. So here's the bigger picture. You can see a really heavy area of rain moving into the West Cape right now, close to Matlacha and Pine Island Road, and also some really heavy rain, too, a little bit farther north. But here's the view over Cape Coral. Some heavy bursts of rain around Matlacha up through Old Burnt Store Road, and some lighter rain now starting to move into central sections of Cape Coral. Some good news is this thunderstorm has shown signs of weakening over the last few minutes. You can see overall the areas of yellows and red are really starting to shrink up, but we do have some of this heavy rain working through the Northwest Cape and eventually working over closer to Fort Myers and North Fort Myers down through Page Park around the Veranda area closer to 645 this morning. So we're going to see some areas of rain building out toward I-75, and you can see the leading edge of that rain now just starting to make it out toward the Midpoint Bridge and working over toward the McGregor Boulevard area and toward downtown Fort Myers. Farther north, some heavier rain, especially east of I-75. Also another little cell here closer to El Jobeen and the Myakka River, but the Deep Creek area around Ridge Harbor down through Cleveland, Lake Susie, this is where we're looking at some of the heaviest rain across Southwest Florida. No lightning with this, but just some torrential rain moving out toward Peace River shores. DeSoto County, some widespread rain closer to Arcadia, along with a few thunderstorms, and it looks like a pretty active start to the morning. So it looks like we're going to see most of our rain today through the early afternoon, and then the rain starts to taper off a bit more later in the day, closer to 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. But still some isolated thunderstorms possible then. Our rain chance today up to 70%. A lot of clouds in place today, and temperatures will make it up close to 90 degrees. We'll have a closer look at some of these storms as they continue to move through Lee County and Charlotte County, plus a play-by-play of what the radar looks like through the day coming up at 6:42.
We're getting a closer look at this crash on I-75 southbound at mile marker 117 that I've been telling you about since about just before 6 o'clock this morning. It looks like there's just one pickup truck that was involved. Lee County deputies still on scene. They're waiting for a tow truck to come around. No roadblock being reported. As you can see, they're off to the side of the road there. Do want to take a look at our maps to show you if any congestion is building, but we saw I-75 moving along just fine, and our maps are all green in that area. I also want to let you know that a crash at mile marker 123, the Corkscrew Road exit, that I have also been telling you about since about 6 o'clock this morning, that has cleared. We're all good in that area. That's your NBC2 traffic alert.
This morning, we're hearing from a man who says he saw the moment Officer Adam Jobbers Miller was shot. He was shot Saturday night around 7:30 while responding to a call at the Marathon gas station on MLK Jr. Boulevard. The shooting happened right outside the gas station. Employees say the suspect ran inside the store trying to hide. They say the suspect was holding a gun and was hurt.
The guy was trying to jump over the cab register, and we kicked him out. At the same time, we said, man, you got to get out of here, man, they're shooting. And he's like, no, I ain't getting out of here, man, they're shooting at me, they're shooting at me, they're shooting at me. I said, well, what you expect? You hit an officer.
Witnesses say the shots could be heard down the street and happened for quite some time.
6:33, we want to turn it over to NBC2's Jesse Pagan, who is live outside of the Fort Myers Police Department. We're working to get to the bottom of this investigation. Jesse, what do we know from there?
Clay, this morning we have confirmed with Police Chief Derek Diggs that he tells us that the Florida Department of Law Investigation has been involved in this situation from the start. And of course, a police department spokesperson tells us that the shooter is in custody. Now, this morning, Officer Adam Jobbers Miller is in the hospital right now because of this scene that unfolded Saturday night at the Marathon gas station on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. You can see everything that happened in the video we're showing you. Officer Jobbers Miller was on duty Saturday night. When he showed up to the gas station, someone there shot him. Fellow officers rushed to help and took Officer Miller to the hospital. That's when the shooter ran inside, and witnesses say they were inside with him, seeing everything unfold.
He's holding the gun and he's looking and he's ducking, and I said, "Buddy, are you okay?" I said, "What's going on?" I said, "Hey, what's happening?" Yeah, he says, "I'm shot."
You feared for your life at this point?
Yes, ma'am. I do. I fear for my life, big time.
Of course, my colleague Julianne Dell is at Lee Memorial Hospital. She tells us, of course, as of this morning, Officer Jobbers Miller is still in critical but stable condition, recovering from that life-saving surgery. We do expect some kind of update sometime later today from the police department on where the investigation is going. As we continue to confirm more facts on this entire situation, count on NBC2 to bring them to you. We're live in downtown Fort Myers this morning. I'm Jessica Hagan, NBC2.
Man, we want to know more about this officer, and we've been talking to people. We were able to get in contact with a neighbor who had positive things to say about Officer Adam Jobbers Miller.
I've seen this person. He's a very good person because I've been in law enforcement for years also, and he's just a fine person.
Officer Jobbers Miller, we know, joined the Fort Myers Police Department in September 2015. He was the only officer injured in the shooting.
Our other top story this morning is one that is leaving a young girl fighting for her life. This is due to a mass shooting in Toronto. Local authorities say that the child is around 8 years old and another woman died. As Andrew Spencer reports, investigators are trying to determine what exactly happened.
A gunman opened fire just after 10 p.m. Sunday night outside a row of restaurants in Toronto's Greektown neighborhood.
I was working inside and I heard about 16 to 20 gunshots, and then just people screaming and scattering.
I heard at least 20 shots, right, in intervals. You know, clip being spent, reloading, clip being spent, reloading, clip being spent. That's what I heard.
We were having beers inside, so we just heard everything. So everyone was running back to the bar.
Saw people injured. That wasn't fun.
Toronto police say more than a dozen people were shot. When officers arrived, there was an exchange of gunfire. The apparent gunman is dead.
Other than the shooter, we have a young lady that is deceased right now, and we have a young girl, I believe 8 or 9 years old, that is in critical state at this point in time.
Police loaded witnesses onto buses to take them to local precincts to be interviewed. Officials stressed they were still trying to learn as much as they could about the shooter.
Because it's early, we don't have a lot of what has caused the motivation of this, and we're actively investigating that right now. I don't know why he did what he did. He won't be able to tell us because he is deceased.
Police say the shooter used a handgun. Overnight, they were still trying to sort out the details of what exactly had happened. I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Coming up on the Today Show, a deeper look into the investigation and how police in Toronto hope to gather more clues and by using cell phone video. And our own local coverage of the shooting that sent an officer to the hospital continues throughout the morning. We're going to have updates throughout the Today Show on air and online.
6:37, I'm Stacey Defenbaugh here in the Alert Center monitoring a situation in Miami right now. Police on the other coast of Florida investigating an arson fire. I'm going to play it in a minute. It's pretty incredible here. Sarah, I'm going to hit play if we could pull this up full so everybody at home can see it. Keep watching here. 2 cars damaged after being set. There they go on fire outside of a home in Kendall, Florida. Police responding around 2 a.m. A Ford pickup and a Ford Mustang on fire. The family recently installing a surveillance camera outside of the home. They've turned that over to police. There's now a $10,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest.
6:38, President Donald Trump getting a lot of attention for a late night tweet overnight. Launched a furious all capital letters tweet at Iran, threatening Iran. And take a look. The tweet posted Sunday night reads to Iranian President Rouhani, quote, "Never ever threaten the United States again or you will suffer consequence the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious, end quote. Rouhani also shared a message for Trump, though, saying do not play with the lion's tail because you will regret it eternally. The tweet came shortly after Secretary Mike Pompeo delivered a speech on Iran's leaders, accusing leaders of using the country's money to fund terrorism at the expense of its citizens. 6:39, breaking news continues this morning. Officer Adam Jobbers Miller fighting for his life right now in Lee Memorial Hospital, shot by a suspect.
Our team coverage of this horrific weekend incident continues as we push to learn what led up to the shooting.
And I'm tracking rain this morning, and actually a thunderstorm moving over far western parts of Cape Coral from Matlacha up through Burnt Store Road and down through Veterans Parkway around Surfside Boulevard. I'll show you the motion of this storm, and also we'll track rain chances here through the day using our Futurecast model ahead and your first alert forecast on the 2s.